going to give a second here for notifications to go out. I have no idea what that is. Oh, God. Oh, fuck this guy. Okay, hold on just a second, peeps. I got to check to make sure I'm live and in vivo. Oh, it does say. Okay, there we go. Okay, very good. We'll wait for a couple people to get on in. I know it will happen very soon here. Is that you in chat, Bernie B?
No.
Okay. What up, Eminem? Nice to have you here. I'll give myself a thumbs up. Why not? Standing tall. Greetings from the Wasatch Curtain. What's up, Corroded Pixel? Welcome. I am happy. Welcome. Ellie, good morning to you. Although I think it's afternoon where you're at. This is, of course, the comment show, but I'm going to wait for a few more people to get on in. I think we got enough people. Let me go ahead and get started. Hold on. I got to queue up my intro here. So here we go, y'all. We're going to get started. We're going to have a great show today, I promise. All right, welcome to the MLH Comment Show. Rich, welcome from the UK. Am I still echoing? I'm look, guys and gals. If I'm echoing, it should go away here in a few. I don't know what the hell is going on there. Let me check one more sound setting real quick. But it should clear up. I've been having that issue, but give me a week or two, and I will have a new computer, and that problem should go away. I'm hoping anyway. So let me see. I got that on loopback. I think we're good there. Good there. Let me try something real quick. I promise I'll be right back. All right. Let's see. Is that any better? Is there still echo? Hopefully we can echo. I do apologize if there is an echo. It's better. A little bit of reverb. Okay. Hopefully you guys can deal with that just for now. It should clear up slightly better. Okay. Sorry, guys. Like I said, it should get better. Chris McCullough, welcome. Panty Wetter, welcome. Fab Daddy, nice to have you in here. Elron Liar. Who else am I missing here? I think I got everyone. Chris McCullough, welcome. Nice to have you here. Big Chief in the hizzy. What's up, Big Chief? Nice to have you here. Let's go ahead and get started with the comments. This is, of course, the MLH Comment Show for the 9th of March, 2024. An interesting week. Welcome to all the new people, if I haven't said so already. What else we got here? Unindoctrinated, welcome. Nice to have you here as well. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me get these comments in my purview here. We had a very interesting week, and I appreciate all the new love, along with all the old school people again. But let's delve right into it. I put out a post about going to the movie theater for the first time in a very long time to see a movie called Dune 2. Highly recommend it. You guys should check it out. If you guys read the books, it's a banger of a movie. I think it's really awesome. So make sure you check it out. But I got a couple of comments from ACJ Lady on that post. Kind of don't understand these posts on that particular or these comments on that post, But she says, wish a union rep would come by. I think you're talking about another video. And that Penske truck has been there a long time. I don't know which one you prefer. Which one you watched, but I'm sure it will make sense when I see that video. Chris McCullough says, let's see, who's in the movie? Oh, there's a all-star cast. There's Timothy Chalamet. There's Zendaya, who does a fantastic job in the movie. Everybody was great. Rebecca Ferguson, who I think is low-key hottie. Javier Bardem, who I think is a great actor. Dave Bautista. I mean, it's got Stellan Skarsgård's in it. I mean, there's an embarrassment of riches in that movie as far as acting goes. Chris McCullough, so I highly recommend it. King Bluto's in the house. What's up? East Los Audits, man. I dig your channel, East Los. I really appreciate what you do. Going to those casinos was pretty awesome. Did you win any money, East Los? Teresa P. Struck by lightning. What is up? Nice to have you here. Yeah, I love Javier. Was the last movie. It was decent. Yeah, the first one was not as good, Corroded, but you got to check out the sequel. The sequel is spectacular. I really liked it. Pick61636 says, I rewatched Dune 1 yesterday. I need to watch Dune 2. Read the books ages ago and love them. Yeah, everybody that's read the books say the books are great. Andrew Coyson says, great job on the Smurf attacks video. That video has gotten, I think, 56,000 views the last time I looked. It was crazy. Let's see. What else we got? Okay, I'm waiting for it to come on Max. I know, on Indoctrinated. I couldn't wait. The scale's too big on Indoctrinated. I would recommend seeing that particular movie at the theater. I don't often say that because I'm not a big movie theater guy, but the big screen is definitely warranted in this case. The scope of that movie is just insane. I highly recommend watching it on a big screen if you get a chance. It's a nice outing. It costs a little more, but it's just really nice. Okay, let's move on. On my rabbit hole video, Zebra says U.S. Bova, and that's in reference to the cop that I caught littering, which that investigation went where you think it would. And if you want more information, you can watch those videos. Uper Film says, thought we are the sci-fi, walking it, living it, having fun in it. And that was in response to the Dune 2 thing. Yeah, I like sci-fi a lot. I'm a big sci-fi horror fan. So, yeah. Keeper gives me a wave. Thank you very much, Keeper. Followed by something about Bernie, obviously. You got Bernie in the bathroom with you? No. Gimmickless says, ooh, I can't wait to see Dune 2. I agree. It's a great movie. You should see it at the theater. 321 Spirit says, there's a gamer YouTube People's Convoy ripped at 33. He lives back east, mid-east. Okay, cool. I haven't checked it out, but I will check it out after 321. Blue Unicorn says, Bilal Khalifa. Yes, that's a phrase in the books. There's a whole language and whatnot through Dune. Dune is an epic. I will say that. I don't gamble with my money, Islo says. Yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. I only film the police. Yeah. Susie Tried, welcome. Nice to have you here. Hope you're doing awesome. I'm doing pretty good. Susie Tried, I hope you're doing great as well. I hope you guys are having a really fantastic weekend. I called this version of the comment show the Snowpocalypse edition, but I'm looking outside. It's probably 45 degrees and warming very quickly. No snow on the ground. So yesterday we had snow and everybody lost their minds. I'll talk a little more about that. I remember dial-up. I put a post out there saying, who remembers trying to watch quote-unquote naughty Cinemax and HBO movies through scrambled signals, and that struck a chord with a lot of people. Magnus, all the way from Sweden, thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. Matthew the King, welcome. Nice to have you here. But yeah, I remember dial-up. Yeah, I remember dial-up too, Mega Miet. Harry says, Harry 1971 says, corrupt cops must be fired. I see now where the hate comes from. Disgraced, disgusting. She must resign or fired or rotting in jail. Do not call Flood the PD. Please don't. Yeah, I don't ever recommend people call, but you do have the right to do things on your own if you want. If you feel you need to redress your government, you're more than welcome to. I can't control what you do, nor do I want to control what you do. But, I mean, if you were upset about it, you have a right to do that. Ulf Hednar says, cops don't care about citizens. They follow the laws they are supposed to enforce. They don't follow the laws they are supposed. That's no doubt. I've proven that time and time again on the streams and the videos. And this is where the melding of these communities, the 1A community and the Scientology protest community, really gel in that way, because the people like me that can handle the cops and have had those encounters before can impart their knowledge on these protesters, on what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't say, et cetera, knowing your rights, knowing when to shut your mouth is a big one. And there's a bunch of little ins and outs that a bunch of nuance with cops that you have to know, that you, wouldn't really know unless you researched it. Let's see if I missed anybody in chat. Let's see. I remember if you do respectfully, yes. Okay, we're caught up. All right. Let's continue on here. Will Babbitt says she has the premenstrual Medusa blues. And this was in response, of course, to that Smurf cop attacks video that caught viral for a second there. I don't want to say it's a small woman issue. I liken it to a Napoleon complex, right? Where you have a short guy that just has to prove, that he's a badass. I mean, that's kind of the idea, same idea with these female cops. Farlap, welcome to chat. Mick T, nice to have you in here. And Chicana, welcome. Nice to have you here as well. Lovely. All right. Let's continue on here. Surprise, another C-word cop, Colin King says. Yeah, I mean, most of the... I don't want this to seem like a male versus female thing, but most female cops that I've encountered have been absolute tyrants. Not doing anything, not knowing what they're supposed to be doing. True Seeker, nice to have you in here. I really appreciate you. And everybody else in chat. So thank you all for being here. Hit that like button if you haven't already, folks. All right, Edward Conboy says she's having PMS cramps. I mean, maybe she did have a bad day, Edward. I don't know. The Blue Raven says she is literally a walking lawsuit or worse. I think K-Dot and I both pointed that out. Blue Raven, she's going to get somebody killed. I've only said that about 3 officers on all of my streams, and she is one of them. Heidi Hansen is a loose cannon, and she's going to get somebody killed, no doubt. Let's see. Chichikana says, I wonder if they're treated differently during training, like compensating for their physical differences. There's a thoughts to that, Chichikana. Like, they have to prove that they can hang with the boys type of mentality, right? And it doesn't serve anyone right if they have to act in that manner. She was probably bullied as a kid, and probably didn't work out well for her. By the way, Heidi Hansen has, she's not a rookie. I know we mentioned that on that video, or a subsequent video. She worked 4 years for the Black Hawk police force, and then she also worked for the Colorado State Patrol, so she should know better. But she doesn't, and it's up to us to educate Tim Perrigan, welcome. I see you there. NC has a question. Welcome, NC. Channel to learn more about our First Amendment audit rights, beginner. You're looking at it, HC. I mean, you can learn more about your rights on this channel. I highly recommend subbing to DJ K. The Parties channel. If somebody could put that link in, that would be fantastic. I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate the question, NC, big time. But this is probably one of the channels that you want to keep in your list of subs. And make sure you periodically check your subs, because sometimes YouTube will unsub you unceremoniously. So make sure that you keep it locked in here on the MLH channel, and I will keep you guys as informed as I can. I do the comment show every week, every Saturday, usually in the mornings. I don't want to give you a set time because sometimes I have to do emergency runs, whether I'm helping Jay out in at the Scientology building, or I'm doing my own kind of emergency type stuff, or homeless outreach, or whatever I'm doing behind the scenes. So make sure you keep it locked in on this channel, because there's lots of information that comes through here, and there's going to be lots more information going forward. So for all the new people, I mean, the old school people know just to keep that notification bell on, so that way you can know when I go live. And there's, at the very least, my channel is interesting in different ways, or it's uninteresting, and that's the way that it should be. I don't want to go through the city and see a bunch of mayhem and nonsense. I'm not sensationalistic most of the times. I like to keep low key and keep things in order, so I can keep people safe in this Denver metro area. So make sure you stay tuned, and you'll get a lot of information. Alan B in the house. What's up, Alan B? Nice to have you here. Let's see. Police are not public, but above. Yeah, Fab Daddy for sure. Chichicana with the $5 super chat. I'm not going to wax my Mexi stash for a week, and at that time I'll challenge MLH to see which one is more manly. Ooh, Chichicana, is that a promise or a threat? You'll probably beat me, though, to be honest with you. Thanks for the $5 super chat, though. King Bluto says, check your notification bell every now and then, because there's times when the notifications will not go out. That's a great thing to tell people, King Bluto. Yes. I love the Denver drives. I don't get much out, so it's enlightening to see what's changed, True Seeker says. Yeah, I mean, I had when I first started the channel, I did a lot of Colfax runs. That's what I was known for, going up and down Colfax there. And the channel has evolved since then, but I do like to get out there and do my Colfax runs, because you find a lot of action there, whether it's somebody getting pulled over, or there's always something going on. A homeless person getting kicked in the side just for being a homeless person, or what you guys saw with the Smurf cop video. There's always something going on the channel. So Chi, thank you so much for the support. I really, really appreciate that. Let's move on here. The Blue Raven continues. Wow, these officers were owned all the way through. They were so owned, their heads were down. Look at their body language. That's what happens when you get two people that know exactly what they're doing, Blue Raven, and know the laws, in the locality, and can take these people to task. Okay. So, like I said, I don't like it when people give me direct. I mean, it's like you guys don't like being treated like children, right? No matter who the other person is. And that's how, when cops give you directives that are not needed, that's how I feel. I feel you're treating me like a kid, and that's not going to fly. I'm a full grown man. I can handle my own actions. I don't break the law. So there's no reason for these officers to give me any directives that would hinder my ability to record or do whatever I'm doing. So I take exception to that. So like I said, I'm more of a mirror. I think KDOT put that very eloquently in one of his streams. We're basically mirrors. We reflect what you give us. So I don't fly off the deep end unless I know you're trying to violate my rights or give me unneeded and unwanted directives. So there is a surliness about me when that happens. It just, sometimes it can't be helped. I'm working on it, though. I am working on it. Any news on the cop who refused to give you his card or name, Magnus says. Magnus, stay tuned on that. I have not put in my complaints yet. I've been super busy putting out fires, so to speak, and getting information on a bevy of other cases. So, but stay tuned, Magnus. I promise you, I will follow up on that, and I will put in those complaints. There will be an investigation, which will probably turn out to be something akin of we investigated ourselves and we found nothing wrong. That's how it usually goes. But stay tuned. I'm not done. I'm not done with that guy. I'm not done with the corporal who used foul language and thought he was Billy Badass. So do not worry, Magnus. I got that squarely on my radar, and most likely this week I will be putting in those complaints. Sweetie, do you want to clean your room now or after dinner? There really isn't a choice there. You're cleaning the room. Cops do the same thing, very manipulative. And that's the thing, Chichikana. I don't let them manipulate me, and that's what the cops don't like about me. That's what they don't like about KDOT. They think that they have authority over people even when they're not doing anything wrong, and that really bothers them, but not as much as it bothers me. So, stick to your guns, and as long as you're not doing anything illegal, you should be okay. But always record if you have an encounter with these guys. All right, Gimmickless on last week's comment show says every time MLH speaks Spanish, Bernie gets a tingle. Do you get a tingle, Bernie? Bernie's in studio.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. There you go. He continues, MLH loves all his subscribers. He loved you long time. Maybe not to that extent, Gimmickless, but I understand. Hold on. I lost my chat here. Here we go. Oh, shoot. Oh, it's because YouTube is updating. I'll get to your comments here in a second, guys and gals. Let's continue on here. Gimmickless says, I'm glad you found out the truth about Benson. I would trust your word on the subject, especially with the way you handled it. I don't like to talk about it too much, Gimmickless, because I don't like to stir up drama. But when somebody opens their mouth and talk shit about me, like sometimes there's no choice and no recourse but to address it. So I've already addressed it. It is what it is. That's all I can say on that matter. Hold on, I need to get the chat up here. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. Let's see. In my whole life, I only met one good cop, and he quit because of the bad cops. Struck by lightning, Teresa says. Yeah, that's the case a lot, Teresa, because they don't want to get fired for telling the truth, and the good ones always leave. So that's why I always say that the bad ones far outweigh the good ones. I think the ratio is probably 95% rotten apples compared to 5% that are good and righteous and want to do the right thing. Some of those are straight out of the academy, and some of those are people that are there and know what's going on, but they're afraid to speak out, which I believe, in my opinion, makes them bad cops because they're not willing to speak out. So that's why I have such a high percentage of bad cops. I wished it was the opposite, then we would have way less problems, right? Later, Susie, I appreciate you. I'm waiting for my comment to see if I get banned being British. Of course not. You're not going to get banned, Big T. Why would you get banned, buddy? All right. Okay. Let's continue on here. Gimmickless continues, says, if there's more than two sexes genders, then why does the doctor only offer two to choose from? it's not that simple, gimmickless. More and more and more doctors are recognizing that there are, a different spectrum of quote-unquote genders that you talk about. I know the whole male versus female thing. It's I know people want to think that it's cut and dry, but it really isn't. That's not how biology works. Keeper of the List says, think there was a Dune movie in the 80s too. Yes, Keeper, there was, and it wasn't great from what I remember. I'm going to have to rewatch that one, but the new ones are really good. Darlene McGee gave me a bunch of emojis. Thank you very much. James Haynes on the Smurf Cop video says, get a lawyer. He'll take the case quick. Not so fast, James Haynes. It depends on how much money is there for them to gain, and I know that because I have met with a lawyer. Chris McCullough says John Poe is one of the good guys, but he's retired now. Yeah, well, I mean, okay. For me, it's 100% IMF says. I don't know if it's quite 100% IMF, but it's pretty fucking close, to be honest with you. Pallone, the OG Pallone says, MLH, thanks for the video. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Pallone. I really appreciate you. You know I do. Mimi's Love says, as usual, MLH, you just continue to be the real deal. Thank you, 100. Thank you, Mimi's Love. I appreciate that. DMC Max says, MLH knows important stuff. That I do. I'm not the most knowledgeable person in the world, but from what I've seen, I'm fairly knowledgeable, at least here in Denver. You might have a slightly ruptured disc in your lower back. I'm a physical therapist assistant. That happened to me. The teeter inversion table cured me. There is something to that, DMC. He or she, I don't know if you're he or she. I was complaining about my back and how I doubled over in pain the day before and I could barely walk, and I think that's the case. I have had ruptured disc in my back before, in the lower portion of my back, and I did go through physical therapy and all that way back in the day, but I've had so many accidents, work related and car accidents and stuff, that my back is really screwed up. I wished I had access to a teeter inversion table, because that would definitely help a little bit. I know it would. But I don't have health insurance, so there's, that's another problem with our country. Michael D. Franco says, even her gun has the blue line gang symbol. I don't know if you guys noticed that on that video, but yes, that is a very astute observation. Let's see. Don't bother rewatching 80s Dune. It wasn't that great, Tim Perrigan. Yeah, I didn't figure it was. I have seen it before, Tim, but I knew it wasn't a great movie. Once a cop, always a cop, retired or not. IMF says, yeah, I think I agree with you, IMF. But I'm not saying all cops are bad or anything of that nature. I just simply can't say that with a straight face and be honest. There has to be good ones out there. I know a couple of cops that at least the perception is there, and they have done nothing wrong as far as I know. Now, whether or not they turn the cheek on bad behavior, that's another issue that we can talk about for another day. Yada Vermin sent me some emojis. Thank you very much. Michael Murphy says she's not happy. Yeah, she wasn't happy the entire time. Michael Murphy. News Now Texas says, okay, you need to send me more info, News Now Texas. Hours before school board meeting, McAllen, Texas School District denied me ADA Title II accommodations for meeting, and then arrested me without handcuffs because of my disability that they denied to me earlier. Sounds like you need to get a lawyer, News Now. If you're being denied your ADA rights, then that definitely, and you have video proof of it, then you should probably talk to a lawyer. All right, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, everybody. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, we're continuing on here. Warren Monkdahl says, didn't you do a video here before, or is this the same video? No, it's a different video. I've done now 2 or 3 from that same site, Warren. So there's you know, there's a few out there. So, all right, my Dobie, here's the first kind of hate comment, if you want to call it that. A legend in his own little brain, my Dobie says. Now, is that coming from a place of prejudice, my Dobie? I'm just curious. I want to indulge you a little bit before I probably inevitably kick you out. My Dobie continues on the Smurf Cop video. Smurf Cop is a better human than you could ever hope to be. You are scared of her. Great job, officer. Okay, so this is a bootlicking edition, and I you know what? I use that term only to describe somebody that no matter what happens, they protect the police, right? Back the blue until it happens to you, my Dobie. I mean, that's the only way that I can describe it. So you think it's okay for another human being to put their hands on another human being that you know, it wasn't warranted? They weren't afraid of anything. I mean, if anything, she was deathly afraid of both of us. Why would she put her hands on us, my Dobie? Ask yourself that question. And we don't have the guns. She has the gun. So, you know, you really think that? You really think that I was afraid of this 4-foot gnome? No, that's not the case. I'm not afraid, and I never have been. It takes a lot of patience and guts to do what I do. I'd love to see you do the same thing. Yeah, LMAO scared of her. I wasn't scared in the least. The sad thing about good cops, the bad cops will always get rid of the good cops. That's true, King Bluto. So yeah, I'm afraid of Heidi Hansen. Actually, everybody should be afraid of Heidi Hansen because she's going to get somebody killed, and it's going to happen, and it's probably going to be sooner than later, and it's a shame. And I'm glad I could at least shine the light on that cockroach of a cop. Philip Ash says, I'm not sure the difference from Catholic doctrine or practice on one of the Scientology videos. I agree, Philip. There's really not much difference, right? If you look at the different sects of religion, sects, not sex, it's not much different. You know, but maybe we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, Philip Ash. Peter K says, amazing how a little woman made the big bad wannabe tough guys look like total losers. This just proves that all frauditors are nothing but cowards and liars. Really? How did that prove anything? If anything, did you watch the video, Peter K, or do you just like to just antagonize? I always ask that. Like there's no reason to make this comment unless you're just a big time, supporter of the police. If that's how you feel free. But I'm no frauditor. Let me just tell you that, Peter K. You probably haven't seen my videos. I do a lot more than that. I do a lot more than quote unquote auditing. This wasn't an audit. This was a cop watch. So get it straight, cretin. Hellraiser says, yo MLH, how do I get a hold of you? Let me know. Let me reply to that. I'm going to put my email in here, Hellraiser. It is Mexican long hair at gmail.com. So that's how you can get a hold of me, Hellraiser. There you go. There's the link. Thanks for your comment. Master Barber says, bunch of BS. You always make fake reports on innocent victims to make your quota. Speaking of Hansen, yeah, the police tend to do that quite a bit, no doubt. Harry Nutt says, bring back Colfax runs. Thank you, Harry, for the comment. I do like to do those Colfax runs. I'm going to get back to doing them quite a bit. Gotham Gothica Fox sent me a bunch of heart emojis. Thank you very much. Pallone with some emojis. Thank you. Let's see. Blue Unicorn says, at 3:45, MLH has done shooting, stabbings, and a double homicide. Damn, maybe don't admit that on YouTube. Jeez, and you seem like so nice in real life. What I meant by that, Blue Unicorn, thank you for being facetious, by the way, is that I have covered those things. I have not done any of those things. So let's make the distinction there. As he has said many times before, he's a jack of many trades. Yeah, Gimmickless, I definitely have never killed anybody, stabbed anybody, shot anybody, anything like that. So thank you for the comments, guys. All right. Braden Vestal, I hope I said that right, says, anytime I need a laugh, I just pull up your channel, man. The way you bitch these cops out is just the funniest shit I've ever seen. Seriously. Well, I mean, I give what I get, Braden. So, it is what it is. We are all somebody's favorite. Yes, Matthew. Or Chichikana. Yes. Somebody out there thinks you're their favorite. You've heard my speech before, right, Chi?
You're my favorite.
Oh, Bernie says I'm her favorite. Yes, yes. All right, Michelle says, so DUIs don't get cited? If a cockroach runs a red light, they just turn the other way? Michelle, we know the answer to that, and the answer is, of course, they look the other way when it's one of their own. That's a huge issue, and it's one that I'm trying to fight from within and without. I've had meetings with the police chief in Aurora. I plan on, within a month or two, having a meeting with the Denver police chief on a number of subjects. So I think we're some of the few people, me and KDOT, I'm speaking of. Actually, I know we're the only ones in the Denver area that are really trying to make a difference. You know what I mean? As far as like interactions with the cops and First Amendment issues and things of that nature. There's a lot of pretenders, to be honest with you. Let's see. All cults have a lot in common, Magnus says. Haha, Peter liked his own comment. She says, yeah, I mean, the audacity, right? I'm quoting you. We are all, yep, I know, Chi. I know. And thank you for that, because it's important to know, Gimmickless says, glad to see you back out on the beat. Thank you, Gimmickless. I appreciate that. He continues, that lady just walking out into the street is just an example of the collapse of a nation more prominent in democratic ran cities. I don't think it's just because it's a democratic run city, Gimmickless. I think it's just because of the population, right? The majority of people live in the cities, no matter where you are. That's just how things are, and therefore the crime rate is up. But if you look per capita, there's a parallel between the rural areas and elsewhere. So it's not just that it's a democratic ran city. It's that it's just an amalgamation of people that are concentrated, and that's where you get some of the issues. The government continuously prints money as it lowers the value of the American dollar. Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%, Gimmickless. Money is a societal agreed upon form of currency, so if everyone agreed to trade another form of currency, that's what it would change to. And I agree with that as well. The problem with that, Gimmickless, is they don't want that, right? So if for instance, like the Bitcoin stuff, right? The government is up in a tizzy over Bitcoin, and I don't see the difference in paying things in Bitcoin than with money, right? Bitcoin is secure. It's on a platform that is super solid. It's and I'm not this big crypto guy or anything, but I think Bitcoin, above all else, proved that there can be a different form of currency if we allow it. So your point is well taken. I agree with it 100%. I find it troubling as citizens need to give more to compensate for the government's lack of care for its citizens, the homeless, for example. Couldn't agree more with you on that as well, Gimmickless. The new Street Fighter 6 has old school Street Fighter in the game. I believe you can play other people online. Oh, that's cool. I might have to check that out when it becomes really cheap. I'm a big time gamer. Joko, welcome. Nice to have you here. Oklahoma Outlaw Audits, welcome. Nice to have you here as well. You people is in the house. What's up? Nice to have you here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already, folks. I bought a sex dwarf with Bernie coin. Okay. King Bluto says, what happens if this internet thing goes down? Then what happens to all your Bitcoin? It's still there. I mean, you still own what you own, but you think the internet is just going to go away, Bluto? I mean, what I'm saying is, I understand what you're saying, Bluto. So maybe you believe in gold, right? If what happens if the economy just collapses? Gold is a commodity that's a rare quantity, right? So maybe we go back to the gold standard, right? And we pay for things in gold, like however much gold that there is. But then there's inherent problems with that. It's a whole discussion that we can have for another day, I promise. Rear L says they're not going to enforce the Blue Line Gang. Yeah, I know. The Blue Line Gang is the biggest gang in the United States by far. Blue Line Gang equals occupation force, Acorn Stake Lives says. Yes, I agree. I think more and more we're already living in a police state as it is, but I think it's getting worse and worse. Acorn continues, more video proof that there are zero good piggies, period. I don't know about zero, but definitely a majority are bad apples and bad actors. Faye Truth gave some emojis. Thank you very much for the support. Appreciate that. Gimmickless says, on my State of the Union from the Snowpocalypse video, the government is set on dividing the citizens so we won't raise up against the real problem, the government. I think we're in agreement there, Gimmickless. By the way, it's a good idea to never let the fuel level go to low near empty, since the gauge that indicates the fuel level dries out and gets damaged faster over time. I agree, Gimmickless. That's why, like, when I was a little over a quarter of a tank when I filled up in my Prius, which is kind of a rare occurrence. But I don't like to let it get, once it starts to get to about the halfway point or a little less than halfway, then I get a little nervous and I have to fill the tank. You know what I'm saying? If the internet goes down, the banks who suffer more than crypto. Yeah, we're not safe. They've already tested the banking system to see how people would react. Most people get paid by direct deposit. Banks will still profit off of Wall Street, Joko says. Yes, Wall Street is an enemy of the people. I hope you guys understand that. Gimmickless continues, California has some cheap places to live, like Fresno. Yeah, but really? Is it really that cheap compared to, I don't know, Texas, Gimmickless? Don't try that with store-bought eggs. Those are not supposed to be left out because of the process. Yes, I understand. Legend has it, MLH was one of the migrant workers that helped build Denver when it was established. Yeah, I'm old, but not quite that old, Gimmickless. Almost that old, though. Gimmickless continues, I find it interesting on what you choose to believe and not believe that comes from the government. You remember acid rain, killer bees, bird flu, holes in the ozone layer? That's a lot to throw out there, Gimmickless, but let me take it one by one. Let me first say that the mainstream media is a reason that people freak out about certain things in a lot of cases, but there are things like you mentioned acid rain. Acid rain is a thing. It does happen quite often in different parts of the world, depending on the amount of pollution in the air. But it's not like to the point where the rain gets on your skin and it starts, fizzling or, dissolving your skin and stuff. But it's an irritant, can be an irritant, and it's a problem. It's a definite problem. Killer bees, I remember that being a mass hysterical thing, but the whole point of that was the Japanese hornets killing regular bees and destroying the bee populations, which are tied to a lot of environmental collapse issues. So I know a little bit about bees, so one day we'll have that discussion. Bird flu was when there was a thing with birds that were dying from the bird flu, and it could transfer to humans, but that didn't end up being as big as the mainstream media led it on to be. And as far as the holes in the ozone layer, there are plenty of scientists, as a matter of fact, the vast majority of scientists that will tell you that there are holes in the ozone layer, and that leads to a lot of the climate change issues that we are currently experiencing. But thanks for the comments, Gimmickless. I always appreciate your insight on things. IMF says, I live in rural California, it's creepy and not cheap. Yeah, see? Mad cow disease, Tim says. Yes. How does it reflect on me that I would never have taken you for a Prius guy, Tim says. Well, Tim, I do have a Prius, but I have the new Prius. I had a previous Prius. I enjoyed the car because of the gas savings purely, mostly. But I am conscious. I don't want to add more pollutants to the air. I mean, if we had a choice of having the same amount of power in the cars with electricity as we did with gas, how many people in the vast majority would say, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not putting pollutants in the air and stuff like that. I mean, I think it's the proper thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do as a human, to recycle the precious materials that we waste all the time. I'm not talking plastic. Plastic is a whole other discussion, but what about oil? What about, just like aluminum and things of that nature? I think it's incumbent upon us to at least be semi-responsible and do the right thing. But yes, I have the Prius, and I got the new Prius. It's an all-new design. You guys have seen the Shark. It's a slick-looking car. It does fairly well with electricity and gas. But I use mostly electricity. Like I said, I put in a tank of gas maybe every 2 to 3 months, if that. And unless I'm going long distance, then like I went to Vegas last year, and that, I had to put in a couple of tanks of gas to get there and a couple of tanks to get back. But I just think that it's the natural progression of things, and it's not, I mean, I'm not one of these guys that is not open to at least trying to do stuff to help the planet and help others and stuff of that nature. I'm hip, bro. I meant how reading a book by its cover isn't usually my thing. Oh, I hear you, Tim. Yeah, no. It's no problem at all. Like, yeah, you wouldn't expect a lot of things from me, Tim. Like, my empathy for other human beings, and always telling people that the vast majority of the human race is we're good people for the most part. I try to keep a positive outlook on everything. Some people call me naive and open my eyes and all this stuff, but it's just who I am. Palone with the emojis, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Blue Unicorn says at 7:41 on my State of the Union video says, let you and him fight. That's what a two-party system does. That's one of the things that I rail on this channel is I don't care what side of the aisle you fall on, right? Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, I think it's inherently a bad thing to pick a side, right? So I don't like when people say that I'm a Democrat and they're steadfast in it, and just like I don't like when somebody says I'm a Republican and I'm steadfast in that mentality. How about you just have a brain of your own and you don't go with either side, right? I think if all of us as American people stood up and said, you know what, I'm sick of this two-party system. I want different ideas. I want ideas that may help the country, like, I don't know, raising minimum wage to something that we can all live on, and 15 an hour is not going to do it either. If the minimum wage kept up with inflation, we'd be about $20 to $22 an hour. And I don't want to hear that this would kill small businesses and big business and all this and that and the other. I've heard that excuse time and time again. It's simply not true. And look at a good example is McDonald's. McDonald's has raised their prices a little bit, but nothing that anybody can't handle, right? It's still about the cheapest food that you can get, and they pay their workers $18 to $21 an hour to start. So I don't want to hear that we can't do this as a nation. It will be the collapse, and it simply won't. You know what the collapse of this nation is tied to? Are greedy politicians and CEOs that make a shit ton of money for a little amount of work. That's what it is. and the effective tax rate of all these places. Back in I believe it was the 40s, we had an effective tax rate on corporations at 90%, and they were all fat and happy back then. So I don't want to hear that we can't tax the companies more because that'll, cause them to lose the business and all, or cause them to raise all these prices and all that. Well, if they raise prices, guess what? This is a capitalistic nation, and if we can't handle it, we'll shop elsewhere, right? It's simple. It's not that hard. Let's continue on here. Still here says the female cop was abused growing up. I made that observation, Still here, and it's a very astute one. I agree with that. And she Chicana, about 17 minutes ago, she's in chat right now, I think, says trimming your hair would weaken you like Samson. I do need to get a trim though, Chicana, like the just like the ends, like the split ends and stuff, so I can look all nice and pretty for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. All right, that's the end there. Let's go to see if we have any held for review comments. These are always really fun. King Bluto says, I didn't watch it either. I'm tired of the political shit. You're not turning yourself into a political channel. I hope not. No, King Bluto, but every once in a while I do like to talk about politics because we can't help it in the way that we live. So but there are interesting topics to talk about from time to time. No, the channel's never going to be a political channel because I won't allow it, King Bluto. I'm neither a Democrat nor a Republican, and I never will be. Somebody said I was independent, but that's a political party, so it would be an error that I consider myself an independent. I am clearly unaffiliated. Whatever they say, but I don't tie myself to any one party, either the Democrats or the Republicans. Chris McCullough says most women are abused to some degree and in various ways. That is probably true. Mexican trimmed hair. It's still going to be long, Chichicana, I promise. I agree with Steele here. It seemed to me like her parents are either abused or she watched them physically attack each other regularly. I agree with you, Matthew, and those are the most dangerous ones, right? All right, King Bluto, I'm going to approve that comment, obviously. Zebra, on my Joe Cool exposed video, the mustachioed video, what a stupid video. This is pure garbage and doesn't expose shit. Zebra says. Oh, really, Zebra? The mustachio's a different cat. You might want to keep watching those videos so you can kind of get the sarcasm and humor in those videos. Thank you for watching it, though. All right, let's watch the hidden comments. Let's see if we got any hidden comments. All right, Scooter says, do they teach that limp dick okay in the academy, or is that a genetic trait these psychopaths all share? I don't know, Scooter. You tell me. Nick Jones says, ooh, this makes me happy. Life could certainly be worse. I have a wonderful, beautiful wife to shag, and I don't have to shag Hanson. Well, good for you, Nick Jones. Thanks for the comment. Purewood6 says, aw, did you get to feel all big and tough? Straight up little bitch, I guess is what you're saying. Pathetic dick bags. Purewood, show me on the doll where they hurt you, okay? Let's see. User says, stupid, biatch, disgusting behavior. Yeah, I think I would agree. All right. Now let's go back and get all those comments liked and hearted. Thank you very much. And let's see if we got any mentions here. I think we're clear there. And mentions. So Fluffer Squirrel mentioned me. I'm not going to mention that. Next idiot, Harry Nuts, mentioned me 5 days ago. Thank you very much. And Utology mentioned me in a post. Perth Scientology Audit mentioned me. Thank you very much, Perth Scientology Audit. Crazy Reiki lady mentioned me in a video. I will check that out, Crazy Reiki lady. I have not had a chance to check out your video, but thank you for the mention. And that's about it. TCD shared me out a couple weeks ago, so thank you all for mentioning. Thank you very, very much. Aztec Ninja, you're an idiot. I've already blocked you from the channel, so I'm not even interested in what you have to say whatsoever. You're a coward, and you always will be. Okay, so there are the comments. Let's talk about something. I mentioned it on the last live stream. Actually, real quickly before I get to that, I want to mention something that happened on Jay's stream today. Make sure you check out Denver Scientology Audit. There was a guy that was a Scientologist that was talking to Jay today, which I felt was really odd because normally that area of the world does not like to talk to the protesters. But it was an interesting little combo, and I think I didn't hear the beginning. I'm going to go back and listen to that stream, but there's a lot to get from that little conversation that Jay had with that gentleman. I believe his name was like Rai or something like that. I don't know. It was kind of weird. Magnus says Nordic countries, multiple parties, minimum wages, public health insurance, etc., etc. Just saying, Magnus, I'm actually thinking of moving to some place like New Zealand, but maybe one of the Nordic countries would be the place to go. To move where I could get insurance and better wage and all that. All that stuff. So I understand what you're saying, Magnus. It is a decision that I'm going to have to come to at some point in my life. I'm certain I heard DOA mention you a few days ago, Tim said. Yeah. DOA is a fan of the channel. He saw the video, and I'm a fan of DOA's, by the way. Just to let you guys know, I think he does really good work. But yeah, I'm really happy that the recognition is there and people understand that I'm not a cop antagonizer. I don't specifically go out to make cops pissed off or anything. Somebody told me, well, you're just there for a reaction, and to that I say absolutely. I'm there to record the reaction, whether it's good or bad. It's on them to make that distinction. I don't make that distinction for them. They make that distinction. Now, if you're upset that I'm sitting there recording you, why are you upset? That's the question that these officers have to ask themselves. Why are you upset that somebody is simply recording? You have the guns, I do not. So what does that say about a human being if they get upset that I'm there with the camera? And it happens quite often. So, there you go. Thanks for putting Jay's channel in there, Unindoctrinated. Really, really appreciate it. Same thing with you, Matthew, on DOA's channel. There's a lot to be learned. A lot of the Scientology protesters can learn a lot from channels like mine and KDOT's. And that's why I choose to go out there and help Jay, because I believe in what he's saying. He's very articulate. He's very calm in the way he presents his questions to others, and that is an extraordinary quality about a person. He's very patient, and he does literally want to help people, and I, Jay is genuine. That's one thing I can say with certainty. There are some bad actors here in Denver, but Jay is not one of them. Jay is as authentic as they come, and I appreciate what he's doing out in at the Scientology building, and I wish him nothing but success. What you hiding, says Chris McCullough. Yeah, not much. I'm not hiding anything. They're usually recording you, so, Yeah, I know. I don't understand. Back in the day, this is what I always say. Here's a good way of understanding audits and 1A stuff and all that stuff that goes on my channel. I do things a little differently than most people, but a way of understanding it is this. Back in the day, for you old school people out there, the little older crowd, probably 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, when cameras came out, the idea was, wow, there's a way that I can make movies on my own. I can ham it up for the camera. How many times when cameras came around and rolling, did you get in front of a camera and photobomb and say, hey mom, how you doing? Hey dad, like you wanted to be in front of that camera. And nowadays, in this day and age, to quote, Kop's favorite saying, it's like you turned on a kryptonite on a phone camera, right? And people hate it now, and I don't understand it. You're okay with the government having cameras on every street corner and every building and all that. You have no problem with the government recording you, but you have problems with average citizens recording you now? Like, when did it change? When did it get different? You see what I'm saying? Like, it makes zero sense to me why these people get up in arms when somebody simply has a camera in your face. You know the thing you can do when somebody has a camera and you don't want to be on it? Don't walk up to the camera. Just simply walk away. Most of us, unless you're a cop, will just let you go on about your business. Or, you know, sometimes if you get up in my face and you're screaming at me and you're acting like an idiot, yeah, I'm going to follow you. We're out in public, you know, and I want the world to see, you know, how idiotic you sound, right? And with cops have to follow their policy, and they're supposed to only enforce laws, right? Well, I hold them in check. So if I'm following a cop, it's for good reason. So there's the distinction there. So, you know, cameras scare the scientists. They sure do. People will go up to the camera and say, "Hi, Mom." Exactly, King Bluto. Denizen, wherefore art thou, Heidi? A pig by any other name is just as salty. I agree. I got a feeling that happened after 9/11. Yes, the Patriot Act ruined a lot, Bluto. It really did. Nasty Nate says that all the time. Yeah, I know, Chris. It's just really, really strange how the narrative changed from "Hi, Mom" and a very lighthearted way to, "Oh my God, don't film me," even though I'm in public. You know, I would never go in front of somebody's house and like try to film them as they're going in and out of their house. I mean, that's one thing. Like, if you're being a peeping Tom like guy and you're like have your camera and you're like zooming in on somebody's personal, you know, properties, business and stuff like that, like, that's ridiculous. But if I'm walking down a public street and a restaurant happens to have their you know, tables on the outside, then I have a right to film that. Now, I'm not going to sit there and make people's lives super uncomfortable and just film them while they're having lunch or something. But if I happen to pass by, I mean, you chose to go out in public and eat. I didn't choose it. So what's the problem? You see what I'm saying? Nunya, hi, I'm late. Was working on the song for Hot Tub. Already working on it, huh, Nunya? There you go. There are cameras everywhere, Chris McCullough says, and the public is oblivious. It's not that they're oblivious, Chris. It's that they just simply don't care. And you know what? I care. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, the vast majority of us don't commit crimes. We don't do anything out of the ordinary. But I do believe, like, I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So why can't you film yourself? You know, I mean, why can't I walk down a public sidewalk and film what's going on? I do it quite often. I film as much as I can because, like, there's a lot of interesting things going on. There's stuff that I have to, report to everybody. There's cop interactions to be had. There's maybe something interesting going on in the city. Maybe there's a car accident. Maybe there's a story about someone who got stabbed or someone who got shot or things of that nature. Matter of fact, in my description on my channel, I put matters of public interest, right? So anything that is of interest to the public, I'm simply going to record. And if you are acting like a moron, like most cops do, then you're going to get the treatment just like I would any other person. So, there it is what it is. Serious question, Dennison says, why do people freak out about auditor cameras and ignore all the other cameras, including the mainstream media? That's a great question, Dennison. It's beyond me. I think Bluto hit the nail on the head with a portion of it. I think after the Patriot Act, after 9/11, I think people just lost their fucking shit and thought that we were all going to be under attack by, a rash of fucking terrorist type acts, and it's simply not true. Those events happen. I'm not saying it's not tragic. By no means am I disrespecting what happened on 9/11. But holy fuck, how are we going to overreact to that? I'm not saying we shouldn't have reacted to it, but overreaction is a thing. And boy, was there an overreaction there. It's a huge overreaction. We lost a lot of rights after that. The TSA at the airports, I can't even, at Denver International Airport, I can't even go to the gates without... you used to be able to go out and film the planes as they're taking off, and that's a matter of public interest, right? But now they don't even let you. You have to have a ticket in order to get to the gates now, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. There are things that you can't do anymore that you used to do, and it sucks. Petty crime on the sidewalk is yeah, and Unindoctrinated says it great too. Fear-mongering. It's all fear-mongering, Unindoctrinated, no doubt. King Bluto says then you get the ones that walk up to you and say, stop filming me, when they walked up to you. King Bluto, let me tell you a story about one of those. I was at, there was a van that had run into a building, and I just happened to see it on Colfax, right? And I don't know if you guys, maybe the old school people will remember this, but I pulled over and I got out because that was interesting, right? Here it is, this van that's crashed into a building. And so I pulled over and I was inquiring. There were people around. I was asking about what happened there, and I got a little bit of information. Well, there was somebody that pulled in there. I think it was a couple of people that were in this van, and they got out of the car and they ran away, which says to me that it probably was stolen. That's probably what it was, or they just freaked out. I don't know, but so this guy comes up to me, and he's talking to me about it, and he's like giving me information and all that, and all of a sudden, about 3/4 into the interview, or actually most of the interview, he's like, "You're not filming me, are you?" And I'm like, "Yes, you came up to me. I'm asking you what happened here." And he's like, "Oh, I don't want to be on camera. You need to delete that footage." I'm like, first of all, I'm not deleting the footage, and you can simply walk away. It's not a big deal. He had a baby in one of those front loading kind of holders, kind of like a backpack thing. And I don't know if he was concerned for his baby or whatever, but if you don't want to be on camera, then don't walk up to somebody that has a camera, right? I wasn't going to chase this guy around, so if he just simply walked away, that's what he does. That's what he should have did. I think 9/11 was used to get the police to do what they do, but why does Karen ignore the camera right over her head, recording her credit card, date of birth, address, and everything at the counter, but lose? I agree, Denizen. I'll never understand it. Everybody's okay with the government having the cameras, right, in buildings and stuff, but they lose their fucking shit when when a member of the public has a camera, right? It's a very interesting dichotomy, Denizen. Chris McCullough says, my dad used to take me to the airport to see the planes when I was a kid. No more. Yeah, you can't do that anymore, Chris. And that's the whole point. We've lost some freedoms there, right? And that's part of what I do. I want to show that we have to, as citizens, we have to fight for these rights to be able to do what we used to be able to do. By the way, the Patriot Act has been expired since, I believe, 2019. So, but there's other measures in place to make sure that shit kept rolling, right? So, that's what I'm saying. We don't have to be afraid. Terrorist acts don't happen, but every so often. We're fairly safe in this country. You know what I mean? It's not like we have to worry about terrorist attacks every day. We got some of those domestic terrorist attacks that happen on schools on a regular basis, or mass shootings, so, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't use it, you lose it. Corroded Pixel says, yes, exactly. Husky, not fat. Tennyson says, yeah. If you don't exercise your rights, you definitely are gonna lose them, and that's not good. All right. One more quick thing I wanted to talk about with you guys, since I got you all here, is about grocery shopping, if you can believe that. Yesterday, it was it was being touted as snowpocalypse, 2024. People lose their fucking minds when you hear on the news that it's going to snow, and they flood the supermarkets. And I never understood that. Like, most people have a few things in their pantry or in their freezer or in their refrigerator that can tide them over for a day or two. You don't need to go to the stores, the grocery stores, and flood it like it's going to be snowpocalypse. 15 feet of snow and I can't move for a week or something. That very rarely happens. We very rarely get feet of snow here, but it's weird to see it. Like, the day before a snowstorm, the grocery stores are lined with people, and they get like carts and carts of food, like we're gonna be like inundated with like feet of snow or some shit. It's just really weird. Rights are like muscles. If you don't use them, you lose them. Exactly. Thank you, Bluto. Tim Perrigan says, it was 9/11. We've almost had 13 years to get accustomed to government cameras. Government's only had a couple of years to get used to ours. 22 years, you said. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Tim, but yeah, exactly, 22 years. Come on, man. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Eggs are more expensive than beef now, Chris McCullough says. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, the rate of inflation isn't keeping up with our wages, is it? Like I said, the minimum wage right now should be somewhere around $22 to $25 if the rate of inflation was keeping with the, minimum wage. But instead, the federal minimum wage is still, to this day, at something like $7.25, I believe. Somebody can fact check me on that, but I believe it's still $7.25. So now certain states like here in Colorado have raised that, or like in Denver's minimum wage is $18 an hour. Aurora's, I believe, is $13.75, which is way too low, and they should keep up with the times. But yeah, it's really crazy. Yep, $7.25 federal. This sounds like when the pandemic started, people were freaking out and buying up all the toilet paper. Exactly, King Bluto. There's just no need for it. The supply chain is very, very brittle. If anything, if we learned anything through the pandemic, is that the supply chain could crumble at any time. Like, there could be a mad rush on, I don't know, soda, for instance, and soda just goes away for a long time, just like toilet paper or sanitizer. Remember sanitizer? It was hard to find sanitizer anywhere. Alcohol was the same type of thing. Like, people are crazy, and they'll buy like mass quantities of things thinking that the sky is falling, and the sky really isn't falling. That's my whole point. So there you go. All right, let's end on a good note. I do appreciate all the new subs, so thank you, guys and gals, for subbing. The only way this channel grows is by word of mouth. Make sure to tell your friends, tell your family, tell people in other chats if you get a chance to come check out my channel and subscribe if they're willing to do so. And I'm sure they will find a lot of information that's at the very least interesting, and at very worst, it's not a waste of your time, but maybe you just spent a few minutes with me and can be inspired by anything. Let me end by saying a couple of things. Homeless populations are growing. Try to keep some water in your vehicle to hand out to homeless people. We got to think, homeless people are the weakest link in our society, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. So doing something as simple as giving somebody a bottle of water can go a long way. We all need water. We understand that. These people are human beings. Some of them do have drug problems or alcohol problems, but all the more better for us to show that there are people that care and support them out in the world. So please do your part. Please, I mean, if you can afford it, obviously, get a case of water. It's very cheap at Sam's. You can get a whole case of water for like $5. Same thing at Costco, Walmart. It's not much more expensive, but it goes a long way to help people in their journey as well. Water's a necessity. So help people out. Help your fellow man out is what I'm saying. And I'll leave you with this. A note on mental health. A lot of homeless people are mentally unstable, and all the more to have sympathy for these people, right? Don't think of the negative aspects, like they're all drug users, they're all alcoholics, they're all this, they're all that. All these people are different, Do these people have problems? Yes, but it's incumbent upon us to help, not hinder their journey in life. So speaking of mental health, if you guys are suffering from your own mental health problems, please reach out to somebody that you know, love, and trust. In lieu of that, my email is mexicanlonghair@gmail.com. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a counselor, but I do listen, and sometimes that's all that matters. But if I don't get back to you in a timely fashion, just remember, somebody out there thinks you are their favorite. Hold on to that thought, because it could save your life. There is a 988 number here in North America, so Canada or the United States, that you can dial that will get you connected with somebody that can help you right away. If you're too sheepish to talk to somebody, please text that number, 988, and somebody will text with you back and forth and help you through your issues. There's also a myriad of resources online. Just type in your browser of choice, mental health help, and you will come up with a variety of programs and people that you can talk to help you through your mental crisis. It's super important to remember your own mental health as well. If you're doing something that's stressful, if you're on YouTube and it's being stressful for you, quit for a little bit. Take a day or two to yourself, and always maintain your own mental health, and do things that make you happy, whether it's painting or playing a video game or talking or whatever that is for you. Make sure you make time for yourself. So that's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys have a great and wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys all on the next video. Later, everybody.